Hello and welcome to Dotnet with Sikhen, and our today's topic is field versus property. Field and property. What are these? Fields and properties both store data in a class, but fields are direct variable while properties are smart fields with controlled access. So what does it mean? So there are two ways to store the data in the memory. One is through the field and another is through properties. So fields are basically the direct variable where you can store the data directly. But it is not advisable that you store the data directly into the field. So it is advisable to use the property so that that property will internally set the data into the actual fields, and it is the controlled access basically. So here if you look at this car example, then we have three fields like public string brand, public string model, and then public int year, and all these are public, so we can access it directly, right? So here you can see car equal to new car dot brand is equal to null, so here brand can be null, and even the year you can set it negative, or even the model you can set anything, right? So these are all invalid year data, right? And this is possible because you are directly working with the field. But yeah, let's look at the properties, how it works. So let's look at this car class here, and then we have the fields basically. So I have made this field as a private, like private string underscore brand underscore model and then underscore year, right? And then we have the property here. So how to identify this one is the property using this getter or setter methods. So you can see we have the get, and then in curly brackets in get we need to return the fields. Basically here you can see minus brand, sorry, underscore brand, and then we have the setter so that we can set the fields here using the some validations or whatever things, right? So that is the controlled access basically. So you cannot set anything, right, in this brand. And similarly we have it for model. So let's quickly jump into the Visual Studio and let's see how it works in an action. Yes, so here you can see the first example, like we have the fields here, and these fields are you can say basically is in public, right? So anyone can access it, and then here in the example anyone can set anything here, right? So this is the demerit of accessing of the fields directly, right? So how can we validate it, or how can we write the fields so that we can store data, the correct data basically? So let's create the property then. Okay, so how can we create it? So let's make all these fields as a private, and then we have the underscore here also, and let's make the letter small for fields. Okay, and then create the properties here. So now we have this color property, and here you can check it basically. So before assigning the color we can check it, like if it is string dot is null or empty, then if it is null or empty, then assign it to the non-color, otherwise you can assign it to the value. So basically you can check it the value itself, yeah, and then this value indicates the color basically, right? So in this way you need to set it. And similarly we have for another, for example model, and we can set it also in this way. So by default if it is empty, then we can set like generic model, otherwise it should be the model. And year also, and we can set some year here. You can see we are setting it like value should be greater than 1885, or even you can set it like and value could be less than or equal to date time dot now dot year. So what is the current year? It should be either this current year or it should be the greater than 85, right? 1985. Otherwise it should take something, let's say 2023 model. That's it. Okay, so here we are basically validating it and we are setting the value, right? But so this is the yeah, and let's run it and see the result, like how it works. Correct, we have set it, and although we have set it here, but let's run it and see the result. I need to put the breakpoint in set part, so let's put the breakpoint in set. So now here you can see if the value is null or empty, then it should take unknown. And in the same way, now you can see, look at here, the value is unknown, it is not null. And here again, because we have the value but we have not checked it, so it should not take the generic one, it will take that value itself. So yeah, this value is this one, so we have already given the invalid model name. Maybe we need to check this one also, like if something start with this one, then something like that, right? So here you can check it, even it should not be empty, and let's say value dot start with something this, right? It should not be null, and then is null or empty. Yeah, if it is null or empty, and if value starts with this one, then it should take generic model, otherwise it should take model, right? So this is the case. So let's here again run it. So I'm just moving this to the up, and then if I press F11, now it goes to this place, and you can see the value start with this one, right? So it takes then the generic model, right? So you can validate it, basically this is the valid data. And here, because it is negative, so it goes to this level again and it checks whether it is greater than 1885 or, right, the data should be in this range, otherwise it will take 2023. So here the data is 2023 positive value, right? That is what we are taking it from there. So yeah, this is the property, right? And you can see the result, like we have printed it here, like car unknown generic model 2023, and this is the started, right? So basically fields or property. So property is used to validate the fields, like whether we are storing the correct data or not, right? So in this way it works. So to set the data, the setter method is used, and to get the data, like when you want to fetch the data from the memory, then get method, or you can see the getters is used for that actually, right? Okay, we have one more type, that is the auto implemented property. So how can we write it? So directly we can write public string, and then we have name, and let's say, yeah, this one, right? Public string name, and then we have the get and set directly, and then you can set it default card if you want, right? So this is called auto implemented property. Here this name is a property, so internally one field gets created, that is the underscore name, and you don't need to create it basically. So in case of auto implemented property, you need to just create the property, and the CLR, that is the common language runtime, handles the fields automatically, and they store the data into that field. Yeah, so that's it for today, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.